All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Independence Day. I am coming to you here from Denver, Colorado, where it has been lovely in the 80s. It finally cooled down. We were getting the 90-degree stuff for a while. It is lovely, but yeah, the fireworks brigade has been out in full force all day. There's been lots of big bada booms going on. So the evening is always a tough one on the 4th to try to sleep. And technically, I mean, honestly, it's been going on all week and it will probably continue for the weekend. So it will just be something that I just have to kind of try to smile and deal with that. So my name is Maya. And I have been doing Silk and Sonder socials now for many years. I've been a member of Silk and Sonder for, this is actually my anniversary month. So 4 years. And I will show you in a little bit. I actually have my Wheel of Life from 2020. So we will definitely take a look at that too. So, oh, Andrea says it's her 1 year anniversary. So happy anniversary to any of our folks who are celebrating their Silk and Sonder anniversary. Yeah, and I know the fireworks are so rough on the animals. We don't have dogs, we have cats, but they're not a huge fan of them either. And I have a sister who has dogs who just have a really rough time with the fireworks. So hopefully everybody will be able to kind of get down there. Yes, Missy, 1 month anniversaries totally count. July is your second month. Yay. We love it. We'll celebrate anything here in Silk and Sonder, right? We love it, love it. So just a couple of housekeeping details. Make sure that you set your Zoom chat to everyone as you're sharing, because if you don't, the only people who will see what you put in the chat are myself and my fabulous co-facilitator, Katie, who is actually coming to us from across the pond. She is over in Scotland, where I think it was an election day over in the UK today. They clearly do not celebrate the day that we declared our independence, but they were having some voting going on today. So definitely kind of interesting. So she'll be helping keep an eye on the chat. If anybody has any questions, concerns, need me to go back a slide, those kinds of things. I try to keep an eye on the chat as well, but sometimes it gets rolling pretty quick and is kind of hard to, I might miss something. So Katie will definitely help me keep an eye on that. A few other housekeeping details. We work really hard to make sure that this is a safe and supportive space for all of our Sonder family. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to yourself and others, no promotions or spam, respecting everyone's privacy, no hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine if you want to ask somebody about like where they got their stickers or what pens don't bleed through the pages, but the best place to ask those really is in Sonder Club. Then folks can give you lots of links. Oh, speaking of links, I know if you are on a phone, Zoom did some updates, unhelpful updates. And so now if there's links in the chat, you usually can't click on them anymore. So you may want to take some screenshots if anybody does put any links, and we'll put links in at the end. And so just as a heads up, it seems to work okay if you're on like a desktop or a laptop. It's just that online application, which hopefully they will fix eventually, right? And redirect any customer care inquiries to our team. So if you have questions about shipping or billing, your journal came and it was all smunched up by the postal person who shoved it into the thing, always be sure to send an email to hello@silkandsonder.com. That's our headquarters. We don't have any, Katie and I don't have access to your accounts. We can't help you with any of that stuff, but they definitely will. Just remember that headquarters is a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific Coast kind of gig. And I'm sure they're off today for the holidays. So just give them a little bit of time if you have any questions that you need to ask. And ultimately, remember that Sonder Socials are a tool to help you elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but ultimately you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that we're working on when we're doing these journal prompts that's just not, you're just not feeling it, it's not your jam, stressing you out, hop over to like the coloring page, just kind of take a look at something else. Feel free to do what you need to do for you, because this is your time, right? And we're so happy that you carved out some time to be with us here. Same thing, like if I'm not your jam, you can always mute me. There's the closed captioning so you can see what I'm saying. If the music's not your jam, you can mute that, right? So it really is an opportunity for you to do what you need with the journal, right? Okay. So hopefully you all have gotten your July journal already and you see that our theme this month is curiosity, which is I think a really fun theme for summer. I think it's just summer just to me naturally lends itself to this idea of being curious, really kind of asking those who, what, when, where, why kinds of questions and giving yourself just a little bit more time to really reflect, right? And kind of look inward as we're thinking and as we're learning and growing. That curiosity piece is just huge, right? So here's our agenda for tonight. We'll have a little opening activity, and then we will work on the Wheel of Life, which is on page 7, and we will work on the gratitude log, which is on page 13. Now, if you don't have your journal yet, your July journal, don't worry. Obviously, I'm going to be showing you pictures of what it looks like. You can write your own. You can jot things down. You can just kind of make some notes on some scratch paper. And then when your journal comes, you can transfer them over. And often, a lot of times, folks are hesitant to do some of the work in the journal right away. So again, this is a great place for sticky notes or scratch paper, just to kind of give yourself that the draft time before you commit to putting it into your journal, right? All right. So the first thing we're going to do, this is not in your journal. So this is going to be on any blank page in your journal. If you would like it in the journal, it can be on scratch paper. It can be on a different journal. It can be, wherever you would want this to be. We're going to ask you to think a little creatively as we get started here tonight. And we want you to think about a curious creature. You're going to create a curious creature, right? A little alliteration there for you. So imagine a creature that's super curious about the world. What special features might it have to help it explore? Draw or write, right? If you're like, I'm not a fan of drawing, that's not my jam. Write some descriptions, right? You're going to do some journaling, just kind of writing, describing what this creature looks like. So draw or write about this curious creature. So maybe it has big ears to hear everything. Maybe it has a long nose to sniff out interesting smells, or maybe it has extra eyes to see in all directions. I want you to give your creature a name and draw or write about it in its natural habitat, exploring its surroundings with curiosity. So this is an opportunity for you to maybe write a little short story or draw a little scene with your curious creature who's just very curious about the world that he is in. So you might want to really engage those 5 senses to imagine this curious creature, right? What is he tasting? He or she tasting? What are they what are they playing with? What do they see? What do they hear? What are they feeling? Like, what does this world look like for them? So I did have a few. So there's obviously a few little examples up here in this. And then I also found a few fun little pictures. The one on the right is actually from a book called The Curious Creature. And so I thought this might maybe inspire you a little bit for some of your drawing. So feel free to take your time. I'll play some music. I'll be quiet, let you work on this. And if you're like, you know what, I don't know if I necessarily want to do this in my journal, but I'm happy to talk about it in the chat, right? Talk about what this would look like. Do that as well. All right. So play a little music. We'll check back in and then we'll keep moving on. All right. So hopefully you have your curious creatures, regardless of what they look like, right? It's just fun. Hopefully you had some fun kind of drawing or writing about. Katie had mentioned she was going to write out a description and then plug it into one of the AI bots, websites that will do a drawing and see what kinds of things it comes up with. So if you do that, that would be super fun. Brenda says, I've got a Monsters Inc. type creature with 5 eyes coming off of long arms like appendages looking in all different directions, 2 hands with 8 fingers each, 3 noses, and 4 tongues. Oh, Brenda, that is like super curious creature who's going to go and explore their environment. I think a lot of people kind of the Monsters Inc. Creatures were kind of coming to mind. Sarah said, I drew something that looks like a cross between a koala with 3 eyes, an otter holding a seashell, and a mermaid, and his name is Otto. Excellent, excellent name. I love it. Let's see, I was thinking, seeing what else. And of course, a lot of people said cats and raccoons kind of come to mind when you think of curious creatures. So you could have something that kind of looks like that. Yeah, and Felicia says, my cat is so curious. She loves exploring outdoors and bringing her treasures to me. Hopefully those are not treasures in the form of little dead things, because that's oftentimes when we had cats that were outdoor cats, they would bring back little dead things for us, and you had to kind of act like, yay, and then try to throw it away really quickly. I think the cat always got irritated that we weren't eating it or something. Like it was like, here I am feeding you and you're not eating it. What are you doing? Right. So super fun. So if you're still working on your curious creature, absolutely you can continue to do that if you want. We would love for you to share in Sonder Club if you feel comfortable doing that, because we love seeing that. Andrea says, I wrote out mine. It looks like a monkey from the books I used to read. He was always peeking in windows at kids and other animals. He has big ears to hear the noises. I love that. So really think about, like, what is it in our senses that help us be curious, and how could we maybe kind of capitalize on that and make that really a big thing for our curious creatures for the month as we keep that curiosity sense alive, right? All right, so we are now going to move on to page 7, which is the wheel of life. This is a very common technique that's used a lot of times in different, like, therapy or career counseling or those kinds of things, just to get you thinking about different areas of your life. We had this, Katie says we had this in the April journal. We usually, I think, try to include it quarterly at some level. So I think it was April, and now in July, we'll probably have a few more times it will show up. So the great thing about that is if you keep these, or you scan them, and have them, you can come back and kind of see how things are going. So now, so there's these different areas. We have 10 different areas of your life, right? And the instructions say for each of these areas in your life, rank them between 1 to 10 based on how fulfilled you feel in each area. How fulfilled do you feel in each of these areas of your life? And then when you rank them 1 to 10, write down one way that you could increase your level of fulfillment for any or all of these sections, right? So the idea is to kind of give you an idea of what you might want to do to increase your levels of fulfillment. You can I think it's great that this is in the month of curiosity because I really like the idea of using curiosity as your grounding. Get curious about these areas of your life. Yeah, and Nicole is saying, or maintain. I think about maintenance as well. Yeah, that is a great point, right? Sometimes we don't necessarily want to increase, but we would like to keep it at the level that it is, right? So, we're just gonna kind of look at that, and then you can switch up any of the categories if you'd like. So maybe there's some other important areas of your life that you would like to focus on. Maybe there's some different, when we do our intentions, we can, you can kind of change up those categories. So again, don't feel like you're stuck with these. These are just suggestions for you to start with if you have some other areas that might work out better. And I'll show you, we didn't always have these same areas. So I'll show you some examples that have some different areas. So maybe what you want to do when we first start working on this is just spend a few minutes free writing, thinking about these areas, just kind of jotting down your thoughts before you give it a ranking, kind of whatever works for you. And then once you're done, once you're done ranking those and maybe writing the one thing that you could do to maintain or to increase that number, maybe circle your bottom one or two, the lowest one or two, and think about, is that something that you want to focus on this month? Now, it's very possible that it's not something that you want to focus on, and that's absolutely fine, right? But that can be another way to kind of go about looking at, so what do I do with this thing now that I've filled it out, right? So you could compare your results to an ideal level as well. Maybe you have an idea of where ideally you would like to be in one of these areas, and then you rank yourself, and then you can kind of think about, okay, how off am I from my ideal? And ideal isn't always 10, right? We don't have to be a 10 in all of these things all the time. Like that doesn't make sense. So here's a couple examples. I think these are actually from Karen, one of our other facilitators, who you probably, if you've been with us for a while, you're probably thinking, I haven't seen Karen for a while. Interestingly enough, she, by filling these out early on, she realized that she was not fulfilled in her career. She made some big changes, and she now owns a Pilates studio in San Francisco area. And she is there most of the time. So she doesn't have a lot of time to do these socials. She still does some every once in a while. I think she'll pop in on some Monday mornings to co-facilitate with folks, but it's a great example. She's a perfect example of someone who did this wheel of life and really took this and to help her kind of shape how she was going to kind of change things, right? So I like on the one, this, if you have any of those extra little dots, you could always use the little dots like the one on the left to kind of fill in the area. So you can kind of see that. It's a good way to kind of check the little dots. And notice, like they have on this one, we have education, which is not on the current one, but you could potentially put it there. We have the same as financial. We don't have, we have personal growth on this one. We didn't have it on the older ones. Still have career. The older one has family. This one has family and friends, but you could decide, I want to specifically focus on family, or I want to specifically focus on friends. Still have spiritual, and some people like to switch that up maybe to mental, kind of like in our intentions, we have spiritual health. You want to do mental, some people like to switch it to mental health. So maybe this is something that you want to put in there. Relationships, again, this one has family and friends. The new one, the other one just had relationships. Romance, we do have romance in here. Home environment, we do have home environment in the new one. And then adventure was on one of the other ones, which is not on this one. So that might give you some ideas of things maybe that you want to switch up. You could also do, someone had posted earlier in Sonder Club that they had started theirs, and they're going to do a beginning of the month slice and then an end of the month slice. So they have those ratings and they're colored in and kind of thinking about what they're doing for each one of those areas. And then they're going to give themselves, take a look at it again at the end of the month, right? Or again, you could color in where you are starting right now and then revisit it over the next few months. So look at it again in August, look at it again in September, look at it again in October, maybe, and see again if there's any changes, see if there's any improvements. And especially if you've added maybe some habits or you've kind of tailored your intentions around these areas, you can really kind of see what was the impact of that, right? Because what you don't want to do is just say, oh, I want a higher number. Like I'll show you mine here, an example, but I would say like, oh, I want a higher number in health, but then you don't change anything that you do. Well, why would the number change if you didn't change anything, right? So this is that opportunity to get curious, like, what do I need to change to get these numbers to change? And then this is Katie's from a while, but I think was it from the April one, Katie? I think she said this was from the last one she did. So it might have even been like at the beginning of the year. But she decided in some of those areas, she was like, I don't necessarily want to look and see if I'm fulfilled in each area. Some of those I've kind of like accepted the status quo, right? Like how it is how it is. I'm not going to rate it per se. I'm just going to kind of rank it up there as a 10, right? So totally can do that as well. Again, this is, oh, I saw everybody saying I miss Karen. I will be sure to pass on that you miss her. And you could always post something in Sonder Club and then I'll point her to see that because I know she misses you all too. She's just super busy. Um, and then again, this is good to check back thinking about those goals. So here's mine on the left from July 2020 when I first started Silk and Sonder. I was like, oh, I'm so impressed with the little artsy drawing that I did back then. And I had different pens at that time too. So kind of have that. And then I have mine from this month, from 2024. Looks different, right? And I can see, like, for example, health went down, right? I lost a few points in health, which, yes, I'm like, yep, that totally makes sense. Career also went down. So it's time for me to get curious about those differences, right? Time for me to really feel like I need to kind of think about what does that mean? And, sometimes things are low. Like, for example, the old one from 2020, they had travel and adventure. Well, that was still during COVID times, right? So I wasn't, they were fives because I was like, well, we're kind of sort of maybe doing a little local traveling, and I wouldn't say there's much in adventure, right? So that would definitely look different if I had that now, right? Yeah, and someone else had said, Lisa had said, your attitudes and priorities may have changed, which is totally okay, right? This is not a place to beat yourself up or to say, oh, I'm doing horrible in this category. It's just you're being curious, right? How fulfilled do you feel like you are in these particular areas? Here's some other examples of things that folks have done. They didn't actually rate it up in the top. They just kind of did the little radiograph in two different colors. I think they had two different months that they were, or like the beginning and the end of the month to kind of see how things were different. I love the one on the right. They've got lots of little things written in about things that they could do to have some stronger feelings of fulfillment in each one of those areas. Yeah, and Nicole is saying also it feels like 10 for you could not be a 10 for someone else. This really is very personal. It's your 10. It's not, I'm not going to be like, Nicole, what's my life? How should I rate my area of romance, right? And she'll tell me, right? Like, this isn't the kind of thing you would ask somebody else. It really is looking inside and being curious to kind of dig around inside. These are some really pretty colorful ones, right? You can get very creative, right? With not a ton of effort. Andrea says, I have a problem giving a 10. So think about, again, time to get curious. Why do you think that is? Do you think nothing can be a 10? Are you the kind of person when you fill out a survey, when they say like on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you? You're like, I could never say 10. And maybe it's just a numbers thing, right? Not a big deal. So if you have 9s, that's awesome. And you don't feel like you need to grow, again, totally fine. Here's some more examples of things that people have done, different ways to color. Yeah, and someone's saying, I can always do better is my issue, which is, I mean, we all have room for growth, right? But don't feel like the 10 is like, I don't need to grow anymore, because I think that still does leave room to grow. Yeah, and Kimberly says you can always strive for 11 or 12 or 13. And here's some other, I just wanted to give you some kind of different examples of kind of looking at how people have colored this in, how they've kind of worked on it. Yeah, and Missy's saying to me, even if you have a 10, you still got to usually do the work to keep it there. Exactly, right? So if you're a 10 and you're like, awesome, okay, so I'm not going to rest on my laurels here, right? What do I need to do to keep this a 10? What are some things I need to do? Yeah, Kimberly's saying, got to notice where we're thriving and where we're just surviving. So excellent point. You guys the chat is always gold in these things, right? Here's some other examples. And they even did put on the right, they said the areas I want to be higher should be new habits. So they're trying to think of some different habits to pop in there. And Katie's saying, the last time I did this, I wanted to focus on 3 areas I had improved in and 3 areas I wanted to improve in. The status quo ones I did, I put it a 10, but really it was just to send them to neutral so I could focus on the others. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Maybe you only want to rate 5 of these things. Totally fine. Totally fine. Brenda, which one is yours? The one on with the areas you want to be higher should be new habits. It's very colorful and beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Brenda. We love it when our Sonder fam shares. And here's again some other just some fun colors, right? It just looks kind of fun. Different ways to do that. Nicole's gonna going for a 9 for career, right? It totally just depends on what kinds of things you're wanting to do. So I'm gonna be quiet and let you work on these. Share in the chat if you've changed any of the categories. If you want to share your highest category or you want to say kind of what you're working on, like Nicole's saying, I'm going for a 9. If you did this earlier, how have things changed? I'll kind of scroll through these different ones. If you want, you can always take a picture or a screenshot of these if you want to take a look at them later. And we will just kind of move on and check back in here in just a few minutes. Boy, the chat is just so full of such great reflections as you're thinking about this. And again, it can get a little overwhelming at first with 10 areas. Don't let that overwhelm you, right? And it can also get potentially frustrating if you're like, I think everything's a five. And like, what if that's bad? There's no bad, there's no good, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just you kind of thinking about how fulfilled am I in each of these areas? And what does that mean? Also thinking about what are your values, and maybe some of these areas are lower because maybe it's not allowing you to live out your values, right? So I think that's kind of one of my things with my lowness of my career, right? Kind of thinking about that. So just like don't let this be a source of distress, right? Again, it's just a data point. It's just a little time that you got a little curious. And now really go back and be like, which one do I want to focus on? So I think like for me, um, like while career is low, I think I only ranked it in terms of fulfillment as a three. It's not necessarily something that I want to work on this month. That can be a little much, but the health issue, right? I rated as a six. And 4 years ago, I rated it as an eight. So I'm like, what am I doing differently? Well, I used to go to a lot of different workout types of things. I was up early in the morning. I made sure to walk every day. I was making sure that I was eating fruits and vegetables more frequently. And I can totally see how I've kind of slid into this, quick grab and go, chips and crackers kind of thing. So it's like that is an area that I definitely think I want to work on for this month. So just kind of think of it that way, right? And again, we have these pretty frequently. And if you ever need a copy of one, usually you can, I think sometimes they can get you some PDFs if you send to hello@silkandsonder.com. Sometimes they have those that they can give you, or we can find something for you that you can, or, you can just draw it yourself. It doesn't have to be fancy, and just kind of work on that. And I saw somebody had said, gosh, it would be nice if we would have, I would like to do this like right before I do a monthly setup. And, we will, this one will be recorded. There are lots of others in the YouTube channel that are in there where we've done Wheel of Life that are recorded. So maybe make yourself a note in your last week before you start to do setup for August. Rewatch one of the Wheel of Life, and you don't have to watch me. You can watch Karen does it. Karen does it beautifully, right? Because she really has lived this. So go in there and see if you can find one of hers. I'll try and post some in Sonder Club for folks who were asking, because some other folks were saying things about looking for Karen's vision board. So we'll see if we can kind of get those links in there posted for you. So hopefully that was helpful, gave you some nice ideas about some things to do with this page. Again, like I said, it's definitely great to be able to kind of look month to month. And sometimes things are just happening that, aren't in your control. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about, I wouldn't worry if they're low. It's just an area of opportunity, right? So let us move on to page 13, which is the gratitude log. As you know, if you've been with us for a while, we always have some sort of gratitude page. So sometimes it's a gratitude jar, sometimes it's a log, sometimes it's just a list, right? Lots of different kinds of things that we just spend a few minutes expressing gratitude for. So I'm going to show you some different ways that maybe you want to focus specifically on one of these categories this month. One of the things to think about, you can do this all at once, right? So you can work on this tonight and fill in all 31 spaces. You can do it, how I like to do it is just at the end of each night before I go to bed, I just kind of think of like, what is something that I have gratitude. Yeah, Denise is saying, I don't like these lines. I can't write as much at the beginning or the end of the month. I agree. And then the other lines are so big. I'm like, I don't have that much to write in here. I'll show you some fun things that people have done to kind of help combat that a little bit. But yeah, so it can be fun to do it every night. It can be fun to do kind of all at once. And here are all these categories. I suggest maybe snapping a picture of what these look like. So if you want some remembrances of kind of, oh, what should I do, right? What kinds of things do I want to keep track of, or what kinds of things am I grateful for each day? It could be for people, places, things, or experiences. Maybe it's each person that you call or text each day. Again, this is a good place. Maybe again, think back to those, to that wheel, the areas that you ranked a little bit lower in terms of fulfillment. What might you do, or what could you add into the gratitude log to maybe help you pick those up? So, grateful for people, places, things, experiences. You could use it as some sort of a future log, so things you were going to do on each day. Um, Maybe it's some sort of a milestone, thinking of that. Maybe you don't want to do the grateful theme. Maybe you just want to say love. I love these things, or these are the things that I'm loving. Roses or wins for each day. That can be kind of fun to do this. Um, yeah, and Michelle's saying sometimes I think the most frustrating or aggravating thing that happened during the day and try to find something positive from it. And I love that. Yeah. So, for example, I was telling Katie yesterday, ironically enough, I was driving home from the chiropractor, which I just go to on a regular basis for health, but somebody rear-ended me. So I have a nice smush in the back of my car. Luckily, we were going very slow and I'm fine. My neck was a little bit sore, but it's fine today. But so my gratitude log, like that was an icky thing that happened, but I am grateful for myself having car insurance, because the other person had expired tags and didn't have his driver's license, and it was his girlfriend's car and didn't have the insurance, and it probably wasn't insured. But again, I was like, what can I be grateful for out of this? So always a good idea to maybe do that. Embrace that theme of curiosity. Maybe how did I show curiosity today? What did my curiosity look like? Who or what was I curious about? Those kinds of things. Yeah, and somebody said, Crystal says, I'm going to list glimmers from each day in gold and make it a sun. Ooh, Crystal, that's going to be so pretty. Totally. If you feel comfortable posting that on social, Sonder Club, I would love to see that. Maybe you want to do some sort of a like spin the wheel type of app that has some positively generated words for prompts. Maybe you want to use the Silk and Sonder generated prompt app. Again, how do you want to show gratitude? Maybe it's a plan instead of a log. Maybe you want to do a playlist. Maybe these are songs that you want to put in here that help you think of curiosity or think of gratitude. Maybe it's some sort of a theme. People are kind of putting in lots of different ideas in the chat for ways that they've repurposed this, things that they've done. Jennifer says, I've done this several different ways. People I'm grateful for, movies, books, songs, the season, using my five senses. I'm going to do summer again this month. Love movies. Oh, and by the way, movies, we just saw Thelma, which I highly recommend. It is a lovely, funny, sweet, poignant movie. Highly recommend it. I think it is really nice, and also kind of fits in kind of interestingly with the idea of curiosity, and that whole thought. So here's some examples of things that people have done. You can see that one in the middle where I was saying, like, wait till I show you what she kind of did with the words, how she kind of stretched them into kind of fitting in there. Very, very pretty. The colors, I like to do mine in different colors too, so it's pretty. I love the idea of writing it in kind of a gold shiny pen and making it look like the sun. Lots of folks have done that as well. Again, here's some pretty ones, kind of highlighting around the edge. As they write in there, it definitely looks like the sun. Very, very pretty. So there's some examples, giving you lots of ideas. Yep, I will go back. Is this the slide, hopefully, that you were looking for? I will kind of cycle through these slides as I play some music, and then I'll check back in and we'll wrap things up. right. So lots of great ideas. I loved Nikki said, wow, I never thought about not doing it every day because it's numbered, right? What a liberating idea. Yeah, just because it's numbered, it just means it could just be 31 things. Yes, it works absolutely perfectly as one for each day, but again, really making this journal your own is when you'll really start to kind of feel that liberation feeling and just that freedom and that sense of like, I can do whatever I want. And I saw Jan is doing, what is it? Is it like curious women? So different women inventors or, yeah, women inventors for the log. So curious women. So hopefully she will share that with us at the end when she has that all filled out, because I would love to see that. That's such a great idea. It could be 31 places you want to visit. It could be 31 different recipes you want to try, right? Just all of those kinds of things, just kind of thinking of how to use this space. So I love that so much. Well, believe it or not, this is always the fastest hour of any time, right? It's much faster than those treadmill hours. But we have come to the end. So again, please, if you are comfortable, share those pages. We love seeing what other people do. You never know who you will inspire. Obviously, not everyone in Sonder Club was able to come to the social tonight, so they will be inspired seeing your pages and seeing what kinds of things that you have done. Just a quick reminder, we do still have, we're doing the monthly matchies that you can sign up for as a subscription. So those are kind of fun because they're color coded and they have some fun stickers. It'll be like a brain dump. They always have like some sort of a bingo board in there that you can use. And then we still have that sticker set that has just a bunch of them, right? I can't remember how many. It's over 1,000, maybe it's 2,000. There's lots of fun little stickers in there. So 2,000. Thank you, Brenda. You think I would know that. Lots of fun with the stickers. We do still have the discount on the Elevate planner. I still have not gotten mine yet, but I've heard they're very fun. They do not lay flat. They are book-like. So just so you know, still have the discount for that. And we still have like refer a friend. Yeah, I know, Brenda. I was like, maybe next time they'll, maybe the next iteration, they'll have them lay flat. We still do the upgrade to the annual subscription. We have the survey, and you'll get a lot of this stuff in links in an email that you get. Yeah, Brenda, I think Spiral Bound would be nicer. And then Katie's throwing all those links in the chat. The YouTube link is in there. I will try to remember to find some of Karen's her vision board, but feel free, anyone else can post those in there, so you can pop in like the vision board or Karen's, or I think Katie has done a Wheel of Life social, so you can get kind of some other perspectives on different things to do. So thank you again so much. Have a safe rest of your Independence Day. Hopefully the fireworks won't keep you up all night. And hopefully we will see you again. Actually, Katie and I will see you again, but Katie's going to be facilitating on Saturday for a weekly setup. So we will see you then. So take care, everyone, and see you soon.
You're like a sunshine, only giving good vibes anytime that you rollin'. Pulling me out, never letting me down, and I wanna make sure you know it. You're like a sunshine, only giving good vibes anytime that you rollin'. Can't believe that I found my sunshine. Hey, everyone's trying to be the same. Till I met you, I was on that wave. But you really are something different. You do you, it must be nice, and I think it's rubbing off on me.